and sit down. Shut up and sit down.
Hello, good evening, and welcome to another episode of Build, Paint, Play. I'm Dave.
Greetings, programs. I'm Jake, and we are joined by this handsome gentleman here. This is Ben Fail, my business partner at Alpha Omega. He is my strong right arms who helps us keep everything on track at work. Ben is going to be with us today talking about the lovely world of Age of Sigmar.
Wonderful. Thank you.
Thanks
for having me, guys. Very excited.
Excellent. Just quickly, I want to point out, so Jake, you're wearing a Codex Blood Angels t-shirt. Very nice. And Ben, you're wearing a Codex Space Wolves t-shirt.
Yeah. I got him for us at the fantastic Nova Open.
Fantastic. Awesome. That's great. I didn't get the memo. I'm sorry.
Oh, dude, I was psyched. So they had all these like cool retro ones. So they had like, what did they have? Remember when we had Mark Gibbons on a couple weeks ago and he drew the original? So they had that Orc Codex.
Right.
They had the Tyranid one, I think, which is from the same era.
Yeah.
They had the Ultramarines one. They had the Eldar one that I love. I forget who does that art. It's the one where you have the big X-Arc sideways.
Right.
That one's great. And then they had the Angels of Death, which is like just one of the best covers. They didn't have all of them. They had like the Catachin one.
Right.
And
I
think they had sisters. I think they had sisters.
Was the Catachan one, was that Imperial Guard?
No, it's the Catachin's Codex.
Okay, right. Okay.
That would be like, what is that, 3rd edition? It was a little book. It's $10.
Yeah, it had like the green. It had like the green around the edge of it, and it just said like, Codex Catachins. Right. And it has like I think it's Adrian Smith's art. It's like no, it's one of the it's one of
Dave
the
Gallagher. Dave Gallagher.
Yeah. And they're all like Rambo style in the jungle.
Yeah.
And then they had like 2 or 3 fantasy ones. They had like I think they had like High Elves. They had Skaven for sure. They had Skaven.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was just like, these are awesome, like the retro ones. And I was like, Ben's a huge Space Wolf guy, so I was like, I'm gonna grab him that. And then I was like, I have to get the Angels of Death one. That's the best. But no, they were super fun. They were pretty reasonable. They were like, I think they were $30, or you could do 2 for $50. And I was like, well, I'm getting 2.
Yep. Sounds like a plan.
Yeah.
Nice.
The Tyranid one has the angry baby, the big screamer killer on the cover.
Right. Nice.
I love that.
We can say hi to everybody in the chat. We've got Dave Hummel is here. Luis is here. Josh Potter is here. Says he's on the road. So hopefully you'll get home safely, Josh. Cal is here. Richard Ralph. Chris Kemig is joining us. Nice to see you again, Chris. Happy birthday for the other day. I think it was like 2 days ago, something like that. Josh says, I might just chuck into this game store next to the Home Depot.
For sure.
You should definitely do that. Alan has joined us from New Zealand. Good morning, all. Good 2nd edition t-shirts. Those codexes were fun to play against.
Oh, yeah.
He says the Chaos Codex cover is the best.
I think they had that one too. I think.
I have a mint copy of that in our office at work. Thanks,
nice.
Adam.
Excellent. Ben says, don't forget to hit the like button.
Oh, very nice.
Nice.
The first thing you do when you get on here, make sure you subscribe. Make sure you like, share a link. Or, where's my hand? Share a link on social media. Buy the T-shirt.
Buy the T-shirt. Yep. Fantastic.
I appreciate that. Thanks, Ben.
Awesome.
Oh,
that's good. We're terrible at doing that bit.
So Chris is on here too. So Chris, before I forget, I sent out your stuff yesterday.
Now that we've got all of Chris's personal stuff out of the way.
Big pile of Mechanicus stuff.
Excellent. I picked up the Thanatar and the book on the weekend.
Is the Thanatar the really big one?
Yeah.
That's
so
that one I like.
It's the Thanatar Calyx. So there's I don't think it's actually new. There's one that has a big center mounted glass cannon, but it's the one with the plasma mortar. It's super cool. I have one in the box there.
Is that thing? I've never seen one of the plastic ones. Is that thing like Leviathan size?
Taller, about as girthy.
Right.
That one looks cool. I like that.
Yeah. That's definitely cool. I'm excited to eventually put that together. I say eventually. I don't have any plans to do that in the next 6 months, but I have it.
You already have a fair amount of Mechanicus, though, right? You did a bunch of Myrmidax a while back, long time ago.
I got a bunch of I got many thousand points of Mechanicus.
Dave doesn't make kill teams. He makes like battle forces.
Kill armies, yes.
Kill army. New game.
That's what I've had for ages. So, but yeah, I think I painted up the Thanatar probably. So when it originally came out, the resin one came out in like 2014, 2015. So yeah, I've got one of those already. But I wanted the plastic one. It's such a nice kit. Super crisp.
I do like them. I tried to get the ones that I needed for my my Iron Warriors when I was at Nova from Forge World, and they don't have them again. So
yeah, there's a bunch of rumors about that.
No,
I love it. Yeah, I need those are the medium sized ones, right? The guys that are in the middle. They're not as big as the Thanatar. They're the
Castellax.
They would be. The Domitars are the Dreadnought equivalent.
All right, yeah. The Domitars are a bit taller than the Castellax. Yeah. But no, they're always out of stock.
Yep.
I'm waiting for the day they do those in plastic.
Yeah, I was just gonna buy the new plastic ones because it's a box of 3, I think, and then I was gonna get like the Ogren shields, or the Bulgren shields.
Yeah.
And try to convert them because I was like, I've been trying to get them now for 2 years. They never have them. So.
Yeah, no, they'll be in a box of 1.
Yeah, there we go. I thought it's a squad of 3 in that box.
No, so the Castellax are the medium robots. You get 2, and then the Domitars are big boys.
Yeah, they're bigger. They've only been sold in lots of 1, but I think a plastic box of 3 would be great.
Yeah, 100%. That'd be awesome.
It'd be like $100, but
worth it. I mean, the Forger ones now are what? I think they're like $119 for 1.
Really? Oh wow.
Yeah,
something like that.
They're dreadnoughts.
Yeah.
Awesome. Just quickly in the chat, Dave Hummel, speaking of waiting for Horus Heresy things, is waiting for his final map, The Throne Undone, to complete his Horus Heresy set.
Oh yeah. Those are super cool. I like those.
They are fantastic. Yeah. Scott says, "Have a good show, peeps. We're taking my daughter out for her birthday. Have a good one. Welcome back, Jake."
Thanks, Scott.
So nice. Happy birthday to your daughter, Scott. Fantastic. Cool. So Ben, what have you been up to recently? Anything fun hobby wise?
Oh, geez. My project right now, and I didn't take pictures of this, and I'm a bit remiss to do so, is I'm working on Alpha Legion for boarding actions. I swore to never play Alpha Legion in 40k, and here I am. I have a 30k army of them that I got from a friend. Can't see. There we go. Oh, work with me.
Oh, Ben froze. There we go.
Yep.
There we go. They are with the Army Painter Hydra Turquoise spray paint, and then I'm using Turquoise Siren and Aquamarine for dry brush highlights. I am terrified about going back and doing all of the filigree, all the panel lining, because I'm inevitably going to get silver all over my nice blue coat.
Right. That is, it is highly likely. But
yeah. Swearing to never play Alpha Legion is exactly the kind of thing an Alpha Legion player would say.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I hate them. They're the worst. But I was like, Alpha Legion's cool.
Excellent. The Hydra Turquoise and the Aquamarine dry brush. That's what I used on Dragon. So
very nice.
It'll look good.
Yeah, I'll snap a picture. They look the whole Army Painter Triad scheme, or if that exists in the war paints, if that's a term there as well, is just phenomenal. Like being able to just be like, this is my base, this is my first highlight, this is my final highlight, done.
Yeah. No, that's good. That is definitely much easier to sort of go through those for sure.
And I have everything except the Brutalis built from the Death Company box, so that's cool too.
Oh, nice. Excellent. How about you, Jake? Have you got any of those guys assembled?
So I picked this up, and the day I brought it home was the day before I left for my trip. So I cracked it open and like looked through the codex, and it's awesome. Like I really like it. It feels like the first codex that we've gotten in quite a while. That's like a pretty significant upgrade. Like there's a lot of new stuff. I think the last time that they got a codex that had this much stuff in it was probably like the 6th edition one. I think had that's when they added like the Sanguinary Guard, and they got like that's when they got like a bunch of like new units and stuff. So, but this time it felt like the first time that they had like actually been brought back to feeling like Blood Angels. I got in an argument with Jervis Johnson at Games Day in like 2006 or something. It was whatever edition it was where they had like we didn't get a codex. It was like a White Dwarf.
All right. Yep.
I remember that. I forget what edition it was. We had like a White Dwarf update
6th.
Instead of was it 7th? Yeah, a 6th. Okay.
6th.
So instead of getting a codex, they were like, oh yeah, it's going to be a White Dwarf update. And I was like, why are we getting a White Dwarf update? And I was really mad because they basically got rid of all the stuff that kind of intrinsically made the Blood Angels the Blood Angels. Like before that, I don't know if everybody remembers, you'd set up your army, and then for every unit you had to roll a d6. Yep. And if you got like a 1 or a 6, I forget which one, the veteran sergeant just becomes a member of the Death Company. Like he freaks out, and you're like, oh, cool. The chaplain's dragging away, and they paint his armor black, and he's a Death Company. And you started off with 3 Death Company, and then you rolled for every unit, and they just got added to it. So it was ridiculous because you're like, well, they're really good, but also I don't necessarily want to lose all of my veteran sergeants because like I've spent points on war gear, and then if you had somebody fall, you rolled again, and you rolled until you didn't have somebody fall on that unit. So I remember I watched a game where a guy had a unit of Terminators. He had 5. He rolled a 6, and I was like, okay, the veteran sergeants of the Death Company. Oh, I rolled another 6. So he had 2 Terminators. The other 3 guys joined the Death Company, and they just become Death Company Marines. So like they're not Terminators anymore. But like, so talking to Jervis about it, I was like, you got rid of like the Red Thirst. And he was like, oh, well, the whole thing about the Blood Angels is that it's tragic, but they're still Space Marines. And I was like, right, but if you want to play just red Space Marines, play like an Ultramarine successor. Like the thing about the Blood Angels that's cool is that they're not just red Ultramarines. And he was like, well, yeah, but like we wanted to make it feel like they were playing like a Space Marine army. And I was like, that's a really weird take. Like Space Wolves and Blood Angels and Dark Angels and Black Templars are not normal Space Marines. That's why they have their own codexes. But so this time it's great. It's really cool. Like Ben talked about it. One of the coolest things they've done is there's now like kind of 3 ways to play them. So you can either play a traditional Blood Angel list, right, and you can mix in stuff. You can kind of go all like first company kind of thing. Like you can do like the Archangels, or you could do Sanguinary Guard or whatever, and then you can do like a Death Company army, which I don't think you've been able to do since 5th or 6th, I think. So that's kind of wild. Like you can just run Death Company, and they have a bunch of like their own special rules that not only just target Blood Angels, they specifically have to be Death Company units. And like we talked about last time, the new boxes look great. So you can actually make Tycho if you want. You can make, Death Company Dreads again, which is dope. So yeah, I'm really excited about it. I did get to finish building my Spearhead for Age of Sigmar, so that's done. I finished the vampires. And then today I was like assembling models for the paint and take that I'm hosting this weekend. But
cool. Nice.
So a little bit. Oh, and for anybody looking for a good book, we were talking about this earlier. If anyone's looking for a good book to read, this is fantastic. Kings of the Wild by Nicholas Eames. If you liked Lord of the Rings, or if you read like the Dragonlance Chronicles back in the day, it has a great kind of, or it's kind of like Willow. Like it has a great vibe where it's like a fantasy story with like really cool heroes, but there's like a healthy dose of humor in it, which is kind of unexpected. But great book if anybody is out there looking for something like fun to read.
Cool. Nice. Nice plug there.
How about, hey, I'm just trying to help everybody out. It's not like this isn't like, Stephen King. I'm sure he would appreciate any shout out he can get. So how about yourself, Dave? What have you been working on? You knock out another 1,000 points of some army that we don't know about?
No, I'm still working on more of my inquisitorial force.
Okay, right on.
So, I did did that Ogren.
Yeah, that guy looks great.
He's just going to end up being like a gun servitor.
I mean, he basically is, right? Like his right arm is a gun.
Yeah, pretty much. I worked on a whole bunch of guys with shields. So former enforcer.
Cool. That's awesome.
Crusader.
Oh, that's awesome. That's old school.
So fun stuff like that. Where's the? Oh no, still working on him. So I don't think I showed this guy last week, but let me look around.
It looks like there's a lot more sludge on your desk too.
No, there isn't a lot more. It's still the same amount of sludge. But yeah, this guy.
Oh, that's what'd you make his head out of?
His head is from one of the old Chaos.
Forsaken?
No, it's like a Chaos, the Chaos Warrior sprue from like the late 90s.
Oh, the old one. Okay.
The old one, yeah. When they first did the plastics, there was like a little accessory sprue.
Nice.
Maybe it was a Chaos Mutation sprue or something like that. I don't know. But the body of this guy is from the Nurgle Plague Lord with standing there with the axe.
Yeah.
Yep.
But I converted
Lord
this guy
Plagues,
up.
yep.
Like, was it Lord of Plagues? Is that what he's called?
Yeah.
Yep.
Cool.
His claim to fame for a long time, that model was $12.
Okay.
Like a model you paint for Golden Demon or for your army and have it be the best looking thing that you have, $12. I love that model.
Yeah.
It's
That
like
is
30
awesome.
now.
Is it still $12 or you can't get it anymore?
No.
Is it 38?
Yeah.
Okay.
30.
Awesome. But yeah, so but I converted him probably like, I don't know, 10 years ago. And he's just been sitting on my desk that entire time, primed. But I finally painted him. Finally.
You're like, now he has a home. He's going to be part of my inquisitorial band.
Purpose. Exactly. So I'm excited about that. I played a game last week, Combat Patrol with the Imperial agents. The one with two squads of Navy breaches, the Navy Voidsman,
The pre.
and yeah, the sort of the pre-codex one, and we're gonna put the Rogue Trader in with the Navy Voidsman, or yeah, like Voidsman in Arms or whatever they're called. Yeah. 14 models in the unit, a couple of guys with the big rotor cannons. You can put like with the enhancement and the special rule from the Rogue Trader and the special rule from that unit, and you throw in like one of the what do you call it? What do you spend? Stratagems.
Stratagem?
Yeah, throw a stratagem on it, and it was like, oh yeah, okay. So just with some average rolling, I can wipe out that Necron unit that I'm across the board from.
They're really cool in the 2,000 point game. The Rogue Trader list. Basically, the whole army can infiltrate. Like the Rogue Trader goes, "I'm gonna put all these people in on my ship," and so so like Death Watch veterans are really really cool there because all of a sudden you just have like just 10 loaded for bear guys just sitting in the middle of the board.
Yep. There we go. So yeah, that's what I got. Played that game. It was good. I'm sorry, in that game as well. After I destroyed the Necron unit, like Necron Warriors unit, my opponent did not lose any other models.
Oh my god.
Yeah, it was grim. But anyway, and I picked up the new Combat Patrol.
Nice. Are those Arbites?
The new yeah.
So it's two
The new
squads of
Acolyte.
the arbitrators.
So fun.
Yeah. It's a good it's definitely a good box. So I'm gonna try and get that built in the next week.
Who were we talking to a couple weeks ago? We were talking to somebody who wants to start running Inquisitor, but at 28 mil scale, and I was like, that just seems super fun. I kind of want to just build an Inquisitorial Warband and play 28 mil Inquisitor.
Right.
I think I say that once a month.
I think that'd be rad. Like Inquisitor was such a fun game. But yeah, but it was weird because at the time, like we'd all been playing tons of 28 mil, and then Games Workshop's like, we're putting out this new game, and you're like, oh, that's awesome. Is it 28 mil? And they're like, it's not.
It's 54.
It's like what was it? 54. It was like awesome. So like none of my terrain works, and you're like, oh yeah, you have to buy all new terrain. Dave Pappas, a buddy of ours, made a really good point. The reason why all those old buildings have all the giant windows and everything up really high is apparently those original molds were supposed to be for Inquisitor. And then because they wasn't selling, they were like, well, we already made the molds. Let's just make this terrain.
Right.
So one of my best memories is Games Day, like 2002, whenever that released. I was playing in I think it was a Battle for Armageddon, like one of the awesome old Outrider boards. My dad stood in line and got me Artemis and my brother Eisenhorn, the Magus, and the Veteran Guardsman. So
right.
The Artemis model is the best. His rules were gross. You're like, I have a whole warband. And you're like, I'm running Artemis.
I am a Space Marine.
I had a game where he got all 6 activations and proceeded to headshot 2 of my opponent's minions, or his Inquisitor Lord and minion turn 1, and the guy was like, a Space Marine wouldn't do that. And I was like 13. I was like, that's exactly what a Space Marine would do.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think the only things in the game that were like even, I don't even want to say a match, but like could be close was if you got the Eldar sniper. If you caught Artemis in the open, the Eldar sniper could actually take care of him. But Inquisitor was so loaded with terrain, like that really never got to happen. And then the other one was if you took the Pure Strain Gene Stealer and it was able to get into combat with Artemis without getting killed, like it had a chance. But like that's it. Nothing else was a match for Artemis.
Exactly.
Everybody's like, he's a Space Marine. I'm like, he's not just a Space Marine. He's a Space Marine captain and a Death Watch veteran. He's way scarier than just a Space Marine.
Yeah.
I think he actually gets promoted. I have the book over there. I'll check and fact check.
Yeah, he's Captain Artemis. I think he's a watch captain now. But
watch captain, yeah. He's a watch captain now.
I think he gets promoted afterwards, so I think that's why he's captain. I don't know. I'll double check.
Yeah.
He's gross though. Either way, no matter how you slice it, his rules are insane.
Excellent. Well, just checking in the chat, Josh Potter says, I may have found heaven. Ironically, it's in West Virginia. The game store, Best Buy, Books A Million, right next to Home Depot.
Nice.
Blair Mackey has joined us.
Holy crap. Blair coming out of the woodwork.
Hello, Blair. Louis says, sorry, Dave is building his complete Galaxy Conquerors army. I wouldn't say it's complete, but I'll keep going with it until I do conquer the galaxy.
In progress.
Yep. Super Dan Osborne has joined us. Hello, Dan. Hello. So try, you'll have it done before the weekend. No, I've got there's a lot of stuff on at the moment, Dave. So you'll see it. I got to try and do it within the next 10 days. And Alan says those expanded foam Inquisitor terrain pieces were used in the New Zealand 40k GT for years, as GW New Zealand seem to have a lot of them.
Makes sense.
Yeah. Excellent. Okay, well, it's time for us to jump in to talking about our main topic this evening. So we brought Ben on as the subject matter expert about, there we go, Age of Sigmar. I'm going to switch to screen sharing and picking this window. There we go. Woohoo! So first up, of course, thank you very much to our sponsors, the Army Painter, who are our season sponsors. And this weekend coming up, if you're in the Michigan area or the Lansing area of Michigan, make sure you get yourself down to the Michigan GT. What was that, Ben?
He's holding
Army
up some
Painter
Army Painter.
paint, obviously.
Oh, okay. For a second there, I thought, what does he have a Michigan GT shot glass or what?
No.
But awesome. So Caleb and Kat are going to be there. Sorry, Caleb and Kat are going to be there, as well as Tyler Mangle. Tyler's going to be out rolling some dice, which will be pretty cool. So
I think our mutual friend for all three of us, Big Rick, will be there as well.
this is true. Yep, Big Rick of Hoplite Games and Rick Rolls America, and my former boss at Painting Happy Little Minis. Oh my goodness,
Tyler is an absolute stud about Age of Sigmar too. All of he's done so much cool painting and so much cool stuff with the community. So if you're there, talk to him about Age of Sigmar.
Yep, absolutely. So definitely very cool. So thank you very much, Army Painter. We are excited to have you continue to sponsor us.
I know what Ben was going to say. Ben was going to say as a former Nittany Lion, he'll never wear anything that says Michigan on it.
Yeah, born in Columbus, Ohio, I will never own anything Michigan related.
That's also fair. Next up. So last week in the chat, somebody mentioned Paul Sawyer. For those of you of a certain age, you'll remember Paul Sawyer as Fat Bloke, the editor of White Dwarf for the longest time. Some would say during the golden age of White Dwarf, late 90s through to mid 2000s. Probably 2008, I think. Paul left Games Workshop and started Warlord Games with John Stallard, and has been co-owner and studio manager there since that time. So what's that? 15 years, 16 years.
Yeah.
Yep. But unfortunately, earlier this year, I collapsed at Salute in the UK, and they discovered that he had I think it's a geoblastoma. I could be getting that wrong, but essentially stage 4 brain cancer. So Paul's not in a good way at the moment, and his family has been running a GoFundMe to be able to afford to do some cool things with him in his final months. So there is a link in the notes down below. Just before the show, though, I didn't have time to take the link out, but apparently there have been some scammers on Facebook trying to, pretending to be John Stallard and asking people for money. So
we should hunt them down.
We should, indeed. But Holly, Paul's daughter, said that because they'd exceeded their goal for the GoFundMe, that they might be closing it down. So if you do want to donate, click on the link in the notes below. Hopefully it'll still be active. They haven't shut it down immediately, but if not, Warlord Games has sculpted a Sergeant Sawyer miniature, and the proceeds for that go to to a brain cancer charity that Paul has chosen.
And you can get that right off the Warlord Games website.
Yep.
I painted a fun note about Paul Sawyer. I painted a portrait, I guess it was, of him eating a bucket of KFC chicken from White Dwarf in the 8th grade. It's my dad's stuff. I think my brother has it. I'll have to find it. Paul was a super awesome part of my childhood. Just White Dwarf in general.
That's awesome. In 1998 was when we started publishing White Dwarf in Australia. I was the Australian editor at the time. And as part of that process, we put together a battle report called Crazy Joe Wears Yellow, which was Imperial Fists against my Praetorians. And it was a goofy battle report. Had a lot of fun doing it. It was the first time I'd ever put together a battle report. Photos weren't fantastic, but we published that. And then shortly afterwards, I got a phone call from the other side of the planet, from Paul Sawyer, to let me know that I'd done a very, very bad thing. That Space Marines were serious and they were not to be made fun of. And I apologized, and he said, "Great, not a problem. We'll work something out to sort of be able to help you do proper battle reports." And then when he came out to visit us for Games Day the following year, so in '99, we actually did a battle report. His Beastmen that he'd built during the first Taylor 4 gamers played off against my Dogs of War. And we
that's the one with he has a Kazgor One Eye, right? He has him in the chariot.
Yep.
Yeah.
So we did a battle report, and I was educated on the best way to do battle reports. So I remember that.
I saw something fun the other day where I was reading a review of Space Marine 2, and someone was like, "My problem with this game is there's no humor in it," and all the comments were like, "Yeah, they're Space Marines."
Yep. Nobody's cracking a joke. This is a shame. I'm sure that some of them do have humor. But yeah. So we'll be talking more about Paul in the future, I'm sure.
This is such a great photo. I love how he's essentially a technical. Like
right.
he's a wheeled vehicle with a mounted weapon. So I mean, he's a tactical now. It's just him in his windbreaker with a Sterling. Like,
oh. It is great.
That's a great photo.
But next up, so let's finally jump into it. Just noticed that Amos has joined us in the chat. Good evening. Good evening. The chat tonight is Age of Sigmar. Ben has just picked up his
Finn has joined the chat.
Awesome. So
Chris,
I figured the first little bit would be us talking about Age of Sigmar, Warhammer Age of Sigmar, what it's all about, as far as like the background goes, what it feels like, all that sort of stuff. What makes it different from Warhammer Fantasy Battles or Warhammer the Old World. So, who wants to start?
I'll lay it on you. So, I think the really important thing, like going back to End Times and looking at Warhammer Fantasy Battles, which Old World is a phenomenal game, and if you're not playing it, it's such a great system, and they're doing a good job of supporting it. But that shift to like an IP that Games Workshop actually owns, as opposed to just a lot of Tolkien-inspired fantasy. And then shifting, David and I were talking for a minute before this, into a very like high fantasy setting with, the mortal realms and travel between planes and all kinds of wild stuff, I think really opened up the actual creative flow for the game. So I think as far as Games Workshop releases go, you want to see something new, you want to see something thought-provoking, you want to see something that you've never seen before, Age of Sigmar is home to that.
Cool. Yeah. I think for me, definitely the biggest change that I saw immediately was that high fantasy aspect. I was a little bit. I think I've said it before. I was very salty when the destruction of the old world happened. Mainly because I'm a big fan of low fantasy. So to see it switch to something high fantasy, it took me a while to come around to it and to appreciate it as a very different thing. But I do now love that high fantasy aspect where if you can imagine something incredibly crazy, it can exist in this world. With a reasonable story behind it.
Dave, I don't think you're alone. I think that the delivery of the original Age of Sigmar, and again, this is not a knock on the setting or the fan base. Just, we talked about this before. They were just like, oh yeah, we're getting rid of Warhammer Fantasy Battles, and you were like, why? And they're like, because the community doesn't care about it. And it was like, okay, what are you guys replacing it with? Age of Sigmar. What's Age of Sigmar? They're like, don't worry about it, you'll like it. Like that was how they packaged it and kind of presented it. And I think the first launch, just Age of Sigmar.
Yeah.
Again, I don't think it was a bad game, and I don't think that the rules are bad. I just think that it wasn't presented well. It wasn't like shown off to the community and then like, presented right. I think it was just like, well, we've decided we're going to do this, and they kind of crossed their arms. And then shortly after that, that's when you had, Kevin Roundtree come on board. And I was he there when they did? I think he was there when they did Soul Wars. So the first thing he said was like, "Hey, so we make 2 games. 40K seems to be really popular. Why can't we seem to get the other game, regardless of what it is, to be popular?" And a lot of it was like, well, the community loves 40K, and he was like, "Okay, what does the community think about Age of Sigmar?" And everybody looked at him like, "What do you mean?" And that's when you started getting, Warhammer community and like more outreach and more events. And they were like, let's find out what people like or don't like about Age of Sigmar and fix that. And let's find out what people like or don't like about 40K. And how do we take some of that magic and shift it over to Age of Sigmar so that we have 2 successful games that are going for us. And I think they've done a good job. I think the 3rd edition was really good, but the new edition looks awesome. Like, having looked through the rulebook a couple times now, I really like it. And Ben can go more into detail about this, but I think they've just done a much better job of like matching up the community's expectations with what they're actually presenting you. So
right, yeah. So Ben,
I think in the modern age too, I think when you look at design and when you look at aesthetic, if you look at World of Warcraft, League of Legends, like fantasy properties that young people are excited about, I think Age of Sigmar did a really good job of being like, this is something we can get into. And I think you see a lot of those influences. I'm playing World of Warcraft right now. You see a lot of the stuff that exists in Age of Sigmar and kind of the inspiration definitely flowed over to people who were first making a Warhammer game. So I think that's really awesome too.
Yeah. And when you mentioned League of Legends, you look at folks who have worked or are working at Riot. You got Mark Gibbons, Graham McNeil, Anthony Reynolds.
Yeah, we're everywhere.
Yeah. So, but yeah. So, broad strokes for those who haven't, those folks who are watching who haven't looked at Age of Sigmar at all. What sort of game is it? Like, is it a skirmish game?
I think the 2,000 point game of Age of Sigmar, I think, is probably the best designed miniature war game like Games Workshop does. I think Age of Sigmar does a really cool thing with battle tactics, where at the start of your turn, you're actually kind of like planning out what your turn's looking like. You're thinking a couple turns ahead about how you're going to strategize, move your stuff around. And then you actually get to, express that with your units. Whereas, again, I've played a fair amount of Old World. A lot of times it's just kind of like, I'm going to pin this guy in place. I'm going to flank charge him. I'm going to break this unit. Sigmar, a lot of times you're like, I'm just going to be on board edges so I score points. And then as you work towards the climax of the game, you're really like digging in and trying to get that killing blow.
Okay. So but we're talking an army game. How many models roughly would be in a 2,000 point army?
So I have one that's an exception. In my Cruel Boys army, I think I end up with about 50 orcs on 30 orcs on foot, 20 hobgrots, and about 3 or 4 big monsters. The other side of that, I have Draconoth. I always forget the correct one. I have the Dragons, the Skywing Regiment of Renown. That's 7 models.
Right. Yeah, I think you sent through some photos, so we've got those to show a little bit later on. But
you could also go the other way too, which is you could play like Skaven and have like a gazillion models.
but I guess
Yeah,
even
in the new
even in the
Skaven book
Skaven
has some
army,
really
you
great strategy that, where you don't have to run the whole 90 clan rats. Sorry.
That's fine. I think we've got a little bit of lag somewhere, but we'll work our way through it. But
for those of you who haven't opened the box, the new starter box is great. The Skaventide box is phenomenal. The Skaven army looks great. Everything in the box is brand new. Like all the models are great. The new clan rats are awesome. Like in this picture here, like basically everything you see here comes in the box. So like you see like was it the Gray Seer? Like the Gray Seer is the guy in the middle with like the staff and the horns. Like he's super cool. You've got the engineer who's the guy with like the telescope looking thing. There's the clan rats who are all the angry looking the rats with knives in the front. Like those guys are awesome. There's some rat ogres, which is the giant guy in the background. It's just really fun, and the Skaven are really cool because they're a bunch of rat men. I like Skaven is one of the few armies that Games Workshop didn't really have to touch or change the name. Like there's no new proper noun because they've always just been Skaven. It's one of the smartest things I've ever done. They're such a cool army because they're so weird. Like they're rat men. And you can go really big and play like Clan Scryer, which is all like the guys that have inventions and stuff. So you have like warp cannons and like armored rat ogres and like all kinds of whacked out stuff. And then you can go, I'm going to go really low fantasy to Dave's point and have like, I don't know, a million clan rats, which is just rats with swords and shields. And you can have a ton of them. You can kind of go the weird plague route and have all like the weird melty freaky stuff. You can go the Clan Molder, which is all the giant monsters. So you can have like the Abomination and like more rat ogres and the Hell Pit Abomination. Yep. And then there's the new weird one that's like a kind of image. It looks like it's like a Franken rat that's all stitched together. Like they're just really, really fun. And then all the Sigmarites are basically an army of like paladins. They're all like armored space marine dudes. But I think the coolest thing about that box is every single character that comes on the Sigmarite side, they look like D&D characters. Like there's like a big, like there's the character on the board. I forget what she's called with the she's got the blindfold and like the magic sword and the magic torch. And then there's like the ranger kind of renegade looking guy who has like a cloak and like a shield and he looks like he's nice. Yeah, like just the models are spectacular. Like everything in that box is brand new.
Yeah. So I grabbed this piece of art as well. I grabbed a whole bunch of pieces of art, which I really like. But
I like those rat ogres. What are the Storm Fiends?
The Storm Fiends, yeah. So
those are just sick. It's a giant rat ogre wearing like armor with like it's like if they made like they put a Hulkbuster Iron Man suit on a rat ogre is basically what it is.
Yeah, it does have that kind of feel. Well, there was a question I was going to ask Ben. So talking about some of the other things that they've created, that they've introduced for Age of Sigmar over the years. These guys, the Caradron Overlords.
Yeah, so the Caradron Overlords, I think, are cool in a number of ways. I think going that steampunk route, going with the airships, is phenomenal. The playstyle of them, they're a very mobile, very fast gun line. And then lore-wise, I think it's really cool is that their whole religion and creed is profit and money. And they didn't, if I recall correctly, they didn't believe in the dwarven gods. And that was actually Grimner's like shunt to protect them. Was that he was like, look, you guys are gonna like believe in yourselves and believe in making money. And he's like, you won't need me till I can be there for you. And so in the recent lore, you're seeing him reappear, and the Caradron are kind of like, oh yeah, that's why we've been able to do all this. So I think that's awesome.
Okay.
That's a super cool piece of art too. That's rad.
It is wild, isn't it? Yeah.
Phenomenal one of a name's escaping me. The Greater Demon of Khorne attacking Ironclad as well. floating around out there. That's an awesome piece. All the character art, amazing.
Yeah, I think one of the things that you said there is something that I find very important as far as the development of the lore over the last decade. When they first started, like when there were the first sort of snippets of background of the Mortal Realms, it went from that low fantasy where you're reading a story about like Jimmy the farmhand walking down the sort of down the road through the dark forest in the Empire, getting attacked by a couple of beastmen, to very high angle sort of bird's eye view stories that in the course of 2 or 3 paragraphs would cover like 2 centuries.
Yeah, and in a
very, very different feel.
I think something else really important, like when you examine the Mortal Realms and when you read the lore for this stuff, and we'll talk about this a little bit when we talk about gameplay, but like the gods, these epic heroes exist. There's also the smaller stories. So when you read about, Hammerhall, the Akshay and Gyran city, there's all the little mini stories, and if you play Soulbound, the RPG, it does an even better job of giving you that. But I think it does a really good job of the macro scale, like, oh, we have all this crazy stuff going on, and then at the micro scale, like, Archeon might, appear to a vision before Darkos to tell them like what they're supposed to do next. So there's a nice little dichotomy of that. Right.
I think it's something that it's taken them a little while to get their heads around. Games Workshop a little while to get their heads around, but they are definitely starting to drift and sort of move in that direction. And I think your comments there about the idea at this when Kharadron Overlords were released, they were like, okay, well, we don't believe in the gods, but then there's the reasoning is being brought through and is being adapted and evolved, which is great to see. Something we weren't able to do with Warhammer. Fantasy
I think too, when we look at Warhammer as a 40-some-year-old game that goes to its job every day at 7 a.m. Age of Sigmar is like 8 years old.
Yep.
Like Age of Sigmar is still a little kid. So when you're seeing all this stuff develop, just realize like you're part of it.
Right. Yep. That's pretty wild. Nice. The next one I've got here is
it's Ben's boy. Shade name.
So Usharon and the Flesh Eater Courts were equal part one of the greatest memes ever done, and it's evolved into a phenomenal lore story where Usharon is one of Nagash's Mortarchs. Nagash is basically Megatron, I would say, where he has lieutenants that he does not fully trust, and they're all out to kill him and each other, so he can kind of keep them all at bay. Usharon is the progenitor of the Sturgoy line in the old world, and when the world that was splashes over into what becomes the Age of Sigmar, the first thing the Mortarchs do is lock up Usharon because he goes against everything Nagash wants to do. Usharon was beautiful and this paladin, and people loved him. Like the Sturgoy, we're like, he's a monster, but like we love him and he loves us. So they imprison Usharon in the Shroud Cage, and he has the Grand Illusion. So all of the Flesh Eater Courts, I'm sure I'm rehashing this for people, believe that they are nobles and knights and serfs, and they're actually cannibalistic monsters. Usharon was locked in this thing called the Shroud Cage when stuff started hitting the fan in the last edition. Nagash tells Mortarchs, hey, you're going to go break out Usharon, which immediately, like, Catacross, who's his, shockwave or soundwave, I guess, like his right hand, like, solid, logical guy is like, this is a terrible plan. So they break him out. He goes back to the Summer Court in Gyran, the plane of life. Nagash sends agents to monitor him, and basically one of Usharon's lieutenants pulls aside one of the Lamian vampires and is like, he knows everything. So that he's this giant bestial monster with this, false regalia, he's also this brilliant, cunning vampire that knows that every last one of them has tried to kill him and or screw him over. So amazing character right now. I think he's moving in a really cool direction. And the army is super fun to play. It was really, really good last edition. And right now it's in kind of a weird place, but so really cool.
Cool.
He is such a cool model too.
That's one of the things I was going to say. Yeah.
Brilliant. He's on the 110, I think, and you know, has the big piece of ruin under him, and he has this ape-like posture. Just awesome.
Yep. I think that's another one of the exciting things that Games Workshop was able to do with Age of Sigmar, and by creating the higher fantasy and that idea that anything you can imagine, like you can have a go at turning it into a model. And as I say, this model is brilliant, fantastically detailed, beautifully sculpted, great proportions, but just an awesome centerpiece. And I think that's what they've done for a lot of the armies, is create these wonderful, impressive, dynamic centerpieces.
So in this edition too, when we get to that, we can talk about it. But they've done a really good job of, when you build an army, you can play whatever army you want, but you're encouraged to bring those centerpieces. You're encouraged to have them on the table, and you're encouraged to have them fight each other, which I think is an awesome way to design a game.
Right. Cool. I think that's going to be an important thing, because I haven't played a lot of Age of Sigmar at all, so we do need to talk a bit about the gaming. But,
they've got a hot point right now.
What was that?
They're at a really hot point right now. I think they've got it going in the right direction.
Cool. That's good. And yeah, I wanted to show this picture as well. The Ideneth Deepkin. I think that for the longest time, I know John Schaefer was messing around with jokes about fishmen. And he did some fantastic conversions and paint job of awesome fishmen based on bloodletter models, I think. But yeah,
I think I actually played against those at Mordheim at Games Day. I think they had them on the one tabletop.
Yeah, probably. Yeah. But yeah, when they released the Ideneth Deepkin, and they weren't directly fishmen, but they were pretty close.
And they're super fun. The elf souls are all, Slaanesh tries to eat them all, and so Tactless Tyrion, Marathi basically go ambush Slaanesh while Slaanesh is glutted on souls, and just start pulling souls out of the pinata. And the Ideneth are all half-finished elves for the most part. And so Tactless figuratively and literally flushes them down the toilet, and they become what we see now. So they definitely have that Dark Eldar, like Raider kind of thing going on, where they need other souls to sustain them, but they also have a higher caste that are trying to like shepherd them back into glory. Okay.
So yeah, they don't have souls themselves. They need to consume souls.
The eyeless guys, the Marty, have like fractions of souls, and then the Akellians, like the royals on the eels, they are fully functional elves that are trying to make sure the rest of their civilization thrives.
Okay. Excellent. But it is fantastic. The things that you can do, obviously, when you have an incredibly high fantasy kind of setting.
Being able to be like, what if we got a giant turtle?
The Eidolon of Mathland, I think is one of the coolest models. The whole concept of that is hilarious. It's like, so Mathland is the Eldar, like, god of the oceans, and obviously all of the Eldar gods died in the old world. Not all of, most of the original pantheon are dead from the old world. And then the whole reason why the Ideneth have him is because collectively, like, he's a psychic construct, because they believe in him, he's real. So like that model's so cool. And then yeah, having like flying sea turtles and flying, like, you know, eel riders and flying shark riders. The idea is that they basically turn wherever they are into like pseudo amphibious air water, and then all their stuff is able to survive. It's just wacky. Like their whole like background is insane.
Yeah. But again, having that raider aesthetic and that raider idea, concept works really well. That's great. And I guess one of the other things as well that you're able to do when you create take all these wild and incredibly imaginative things, you can have different play styles, right? So it's not just everybody has to rank up in blocks of 40.
Yeah, I haven't done much with Ideneth or played much against them in the last couple of years, but it's cool that like the Marty Thralls guys with big swords, like they were one really good way to run the army, and then another way was just like all the eels, and then one that was really popular last edition was just 1,000,000 sharks.
But if you get, let's say that like 1,000,000 sharks, it's a whole bunch of guys, it's like floating around on sharks.
Yeah, the shark is like their heavy chariot, and they just throw bows on the back of them.
Yeah, but that plays very different to a whole bunch of steampunk dwarves floating on balloons, right?
Totally different.
Yeah.
But they're both very similar things. It's the core model from the army on something or floating around.
Yeah. I was kind of musing on it, thinking about Sigmar, where I think at the core of fantasy wargaming, you kind of want to be like light infantry, heavy infantry, light cavalry, heavy cavalry. Maybe you have a war machine. And I think it's a neat way to express so many factions to be like, oh, we want a chariot. Like, what does this army's chariot look like? And how do we make it different from just being like, yeah, it's wheels and 2 animals?
Right. Yep. I think that's from being able to do something like that from a design standpoint. If we want to introduce this type of a unit, what can we do with it? Cool. I didn't grab a Sylvaneth picture, but I was thinking about them as I was looking through the art. That's an army that has a foot in Warhammer Fantasy.
So yeah, and in the Sylvaneth, the cool idea with the Sylvaneth, if I recall correctly, the Sylvaneth are also the memory of the world that was. So there's still, I forget the correct term for what are the wood elves, but the wanderers, I believe they were. There's still elves like that exist, and then the Sylvaneth are like the martial expressions and martial memories, and the tree spirits and everything else. I'm blanking on his name. The Kurnothi hero on the giant beetle that came out. It is like the dip into the actual expression of Kurnoth, who again we haven't seen in 20 years. So very cool that they brought him out. And again, like bring Alario, put Alario on the table. Amazing.
Right. Yep. Alario's on the enormous stag beetle, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Again, fantastic centerpiece.
And she's huge. She's like the Avatar, or she's bigger than oh god, she's bigger than the old Avatar. She's not bigger than the new Avatar.
Okay. But similar, gotta be fairly similar in bulk. Maybe a bit bigger, bit bulkier, but not as tall. Just quickly, I'm going to say hi to Hank, who's joined us in the chat, and Josh from Crown of Command Games has joined us as well. So he's not
What's up, Hank?
he does like all the Skaven models in the set. Absolutely cool. I think the next thing that we've got lined up here is Cities of Sigmar.
Oh, nice.
I had to throw those in because they're that's my faction of choice. I think 2 seasons ago we did an episode on humanity versus the fantastic.
Yeah,
which is sort of what I go for in wargaming. So I have really enjoyed the the stuff they've been doing with the Cities of Sigmar, because it is still that it's humanity. It's not anything super wild and crazy. There's a couple of wild and crazy centerpieces, but it's still like regular folks.
Is this one of the Kapinskis?
I don't know.
It kind of looks like Stefan's work, but
right. I was thinking maybe more Alex Boyd, but yeah.
Hey, Bales.
One of the fun things I heard recently, Chris Peach and Luis Sugden and Rob Symes have a podcast, and they were talking about the Great Cannon model for these guys. Brilliant piece, just a big chunky cannon, and then there's just a guy chugging some beer while he's shooting the cannon. This guy's facing down the gash, and he's just like, "Well, I guess I'll drink while I do it."
I like the guy. I like the guy in the crow's nest on the ogre.
Yeah, exactly.
Hang on a second. I've got. Have him here. Where is he? There he is. Cool. Woo!
Yeah, there you go. That's the guy.
Yeah.
Hang on a sec. Let's switch back to this view for a sec.
Yeah, that model's insane. I love it.
So
Yeah. I think Games Workshop has done a really good job too of kind of seeing other ranges that were successful and cool. I remember Rackham and Confrontation, Cadwallon, which was like their big like living city. That's like a very like Cadwallon kind of thing to do. So I was excited to see that model.
Yeah, I agree with you on that one. Definitely it's got a lot of, you can see some Cadwallon influences in there. That's the cannon.
Yeah, that thing's awesome.
Yeah, and in the back, right there, that's where you drink a beer while you shoot at the God of Death.
Sure. And why not? Why not? I haven't painted on these guys for a long time. I got to do some more. But
I do like their knights. I think their knights look really cool.
Yeah, so I do have a finished knight. Oh no, that finished knight has taken some damage in the last year.
We talked about before. I think one of the coolest models in that line is like I don't know what his title is, but it's like the Duke that's like coming down the hill on the horse.
Right.
That is such a great model.
Yeah.
Just the captain.
Yeah. But like it's such an interesting take, because usually like everything's going up, it's very heroic, and this guy's almost resigned, like, well, I guess I better take my horse down this hill and kill those rat guys.
Yeah.
There's ratmen in my fields again.
Not rats in the field. That's terrible. It's always the worst thing.
He's like, kids, how many times have I told you not to play with warpstone?
Don't play with warpstone. Or if you do find some warpstone, gather it all up and bring it to the town hall. We'll do something with
it. Rolling up D6s and get quads. Get good treasure.
But I do like that. So with the Cities of Sigmar, even though I don't have that idea like that these guys are going to be around for a long time, as far as the individual soldiers, you just know that there are always more. There's always more people who are like, well, hanging out in this city and trying to like scrabble for a living is going to be terrible. It might be slightly less terrible to go out and fight my way through and try to create a new city.
They do a brilliant job in the Dawnbringers books, which are the gap filler between 3 and 4, of explaining like how new free cities are settled and what being on a Dawnbringer crusade is like. And so, if I recall correctly, Cities of Sigmar got the refresh right before that, and then they very much gave them like a living feel as they like grew into being like, this is why there's free Guild Rangers, and this is why that unit exists. And I love Cities of Sigmar. I think they're another awesome one.
Yeah. Absolutely. They look great. Fantastic. So I think the next one, so we've talked about a lot of the art, we've talked about some of the lore, some of the things that switching to Age of Sigmar has allowed GW to do. Let's have a look now at Ben, some of your forces. So who we got first?
Yeah. That is the Cruel Boys Spearhead. Their resolution there is of a potato because I was taking it and trying to leave the shop yesterday. Cruel Boys from the last edition of Age of Sigmar, they're one of my favorite factions. I think they're a really great take on the Morky aspect of orcs. And they're all about sneaky tricks and doing terrible stuff to your opponents. There's a ton of cool lore with them. I think they have a huge room to grow and improve and build as an army. I think the current like Orc War Clan idea is really, really great. You got some gut rippers up front there.
I still like the meme cartoon where they're like, I still like the meme cartoon where like the Sigmarites are all together and they're like, this sword is harnessed in the Stormlord's lightning, and then there's a bunch of these guys and they're like, we dipped our spears in poop, and you're like,
yeah. We were playing Spearhead at my buddy's house the other week, and my buddy kept talking about poop knives. So gut rippers up front, poop knives number one.
Poop knives number one, fantastic. One thing I will say that we didn't mention, so back in the day, Warhammer Fantasy Battles, each faction essentially was individual. So your High Elves, your Dark Elves, your Wood Elves, your Empire, Bretonnians,
Ogre Kingdoms,
Dogs of War, Chaos Demons. In Age of Sigmar, though, there are, was it 4 Grand Alliances?
Yep.
Yes.
What are the 4? There's
Death, Destruction, Order, Chaos.
Death, Destruction, Order, and Chaos. So Order is anybody.
So Order is anyone that lives in a city. It doesn't necessarily mean that they are good. The Daughters of Cain and the Stormcast are both Order factions. So you have lawful evil, if you want to talk about D&D, and then you have like lawful good.
Right.
But they're about civilization and kind of, taming of the realm.
Okay.
Destruction.
The best description I heard is death is anybody who's dead. And then chaos is anybody who's chaos. Order is anybody who like has a job and lives in a house and has money and has bills and believes in like organized religion and organized government. That's order. And then destruction is the guys who don't think that.
Would you agree, Ben?
So there's a lot of rumors about this setting. And the one from Warhammer Underworlds is there are what we think are bugmen called the silent people, I believe. They keep talking about them, and we're pretty sure they're a Nagash faction, so they're a death faction, but that they like worship Nagash. There's a lot of neat stuff in the lore about the Mortal Realms where kind of where you live is who you are. And so like there's humans living in Shaiish, the realm of death. So there's some that are just like, yeah, like, we give all of our, old and the sickly off to the Soul Blight, and they don't eat all of us. So
right.
The lore side of it, I think, is super cool with that. I think as far as the actual expression of the factions in tabletop, yeah, chaos are the guys that worship chaos. Destruction are the guys that just like destroying stuff. Death is dead.
Right. Okay, so orcs are
orcs. Orcs destruction faction. You have the Iron Jaws, who are their leader is Godrak, and they are all about their heavy pig iron that they harvest from their pigs. Big metal plates crunching people. There are the Gorkers. Cruel Boys are the Morkers. They're sneaky. You have Gloomspite Gits, who worship Gorka Morka as the Bad Moon. And then you have the Ogre Maw tribes, I believe it is now. In the Maw tribes worship the kind of hunger of Gorka Morka. And there's tons of cool stuff within them too that I don't think has been fully explored.
Right.
There's also the Sons of Bahamut.
Yeah. Another fun Age of Sigmar thing is that there are these like god beasts that are like incredibly giant, impossible, Nephilim type creatures. And Bahamut was one of them. And then Broad is his, I believe, eldest son is one of the Gargants. So.
Right. Nice. Cool. So here are some close-up shots from your potato cam.
Yeah.
This guy here is
that is a kiloboss on Greater Nashtooth. The kilobosses are cool because again they're morkers, and so they have totally snuck their way to the top and backstabbed their way to the top. He's very cool in Spearhead because he is like a fighty little monster. And there aren't a ton of I use this analogy a lot, like Demon Prince type characters where he's like a 10 health guy that's going to go get stuck in combat and might kill a whole unit, and is pretty resilient to punishment, which the rest of the army really isn't. So he's a really, really fun piece and super fast.
Right. No, so when you said on a Greater Nashtooth, it was like, okay, so there's a lesser Nashtooth or Nortooth.
So we see them in Age of Sigmar Realms of Ruin, which is a computer real-time strategy game. And they're just packs of wild dogs. The Greater Nashtooth is like the fully grown one. It is heartbreaking to me that the Cruel Boys don't have a heavy cav or light cav because I love those models.
Right.
Or that model, I guess.
They're saving for the future, perhaps.
Fingers crossed.
Excellent. This guy here is the banner bearer.
Brilliant. That is a Merc Knob with a Belcher banner. I think thing number one that's awesome about him is he's a throwback to like super old orc aesthetic. He's a knob, which is cool. His banner makes him better at controlling objectives on the board, which I think is a phenomenal expression of rules. And then the tongue on the banner is actually from a thing called a Mire Drake, which is a giant dragon or snake. We haven't seen one yet. But that physically just breathes like pestilence and mire into the air. He's a super fun piece in Spearhead in particular, and he's pretty cool on full-size games as well.
Right. Awesome. That's cool. These guys were the Gut Rippers. Is that right?
Yeah, and I think the Gut Rippers, again, they're just like your line troops. They have their poop spears. Their shields are scare shields, so they will bang those together. The expression in game is on a 3-up. Non-hero units get -1 to hit them, which is super awesome because they're not very resilient to begin with. I think what I love most about them is they definitely have that Mordor orc feel. And I don't think Games Workshop really captured that anywhere else. So like the leathers and the sporadic pieces of armor, eye patches and wounds. In the multi-part kit, there's one with a hook hand, so I really like him as well.
Right, nice.
You just got to put some white hands on them.
That is an option. Yeah.
Yep. Be all good.
I love that's the thing. You're like they're armed with poop.
The Beast Skewer Killbow is the best and worst model in this Spearhead. Basically, the bow hits on a 4-up. It does D6 damage. It does a flat 6 damage to monsters, which there aren't a ton of in Spearhead. But it is very much like I'm either going to crack somebody with this and just watch them explode into pieces. Cool thing in Age of Sigmar, damage spells are units, so that can impale multiple guys at the same time. And then sometimes you just miss your shot and go, well, that was fun.
Right.
He's got little goblin loaders too. I wish I'd take a better picture. They're in so many contortions of exertion. It's a super fun model in general. It was an amazing model to paint too. It's one of the Games Workshop push fit ones too. And so it's really easy to paint it in some assemblies and then insert there's actually a goblin behind him as well. And you can insert them on afterwards. I didn't do that. I just slapped the sucker together and painted it.
Put them all together and painted it. Nice. I think, sorry, just one thing you mentioned there is a rules thing. For those folks who play 40K, you'll know that wounds, extra damage done does not spill over. So if you get 2 hits and both hits do 3 damage, but you're only hitting something with 1 wound, you just kill those 2 things. So 2 guardsmen or something like that. In Age of Sigmar, wounds do spill over, so that D6, if you roll a 6 and the models in your unit have 2 wounds each, that's 3 models that you would kill. Is that right?
Yeah.
No. So,
in Force Sigmar, I think in the rules, that's a lot better way for the game to work, because, again, I have an army that's 7 models. And so if damage wasn't spilling over, I'd be like, oh, well, I killed 3 guys. Well, your 37 gets swing back.
Your giant dragon crashes into a unit of Skaven and you kill 3 Skaven.
Right.
Yeah.
He's like, well, each claw does 6 damage and his bite does 6. Well, that's 3 Skaven super dead.
Right. So that's a bit of the balance that you get in there. And I guess that other thing as well is for those, so for armies that have a higher model count, their weapons are going to do less damage.
Yeah, and there's good expressions of that as well.
Right. Excellent. And I think this is the last unit from the Cruel Boys Spearhead.
Yeah. Now those are just man skewer bolt boys. So they are just accurate snipers, basically. The cool thing with the Cruel Boys in Spearhead and on the tabletop as well in larger games, Cruel Boys have dirty tricks they can play. And so one of the ones in Spearhead is you can be covered in mud. So these guys can basically be invisible to people further than 12 inches away from them. So they can kind of take pot shots at Lumineth archers and the other kind of range guys that are going to bully you in Spearhead before they can touch you. So, yeah, they've been super awesome in the game I've played.
Right. Excellent. And I bet something like that, like covered in mud, as a rule, means that you can make it a little bit easier to paint these guys too.
Yeah, these models are awesome to paint. Paint them brown and then put colors in and wash them.
Pop some of the red shoulder pads there. But yeah, cool. So then, I think we should have a look at the next spot.
Yeah. I went and played in Everwinter, which is one of the Wicked Dicey tabletop gaming events. Wicked Dicey is a really cool organization, local. What's up, Miles? If he sees this, Corey too. Hey, I went and played in their Age of Sigmar event this last winter. I was considering playing Horus Heresy instead. I painted this army in like a couple weeks. This is a 2,000 point army.
It's
The big
and it was great.
The back is the best.
Yeah, the great thing about this was that Ionis Cryptborn, the red dragon in the middle, he came in a box with 2 of the blue dragons to Stormdrake guard, so it was really, really easy to get in this army really fast. I put them together, used Vallejo, the Vallejo color spray primer. So the dragons, I believe, are whatever their ultramarine blue is, and then magic blue, which is just a phenomenal color. And if you like painting stuff blue, like go buy a can of that. And then I used the greens for the Drake's. It's not a Drake's Horn Templar. The Knight Draconis. And then for Ionis, I used Mephiston Red, and then I used Dark Red from Vallejo, and then Mephiston Red. But yeah, these guys painted up awesome. Did some dry brushing on the wings. And this is actually, on the rules side, these guys are a regiment of renown. And so there's the normal Stormcast list. Yeah, there's Ionis, one of my favorite lore characters. He's kind of the leader of these guys. basically he meets this red dragon in the realm of death. Ionis is looking for a panacea to cure the Stormcast Eternals. They basically lose their souls every time they're reforged and become closer to being golems. Ionis' best friend and basically his captain is slowly falling into oblivion, and his goal is to save his buddy. So I really like him. He's also a Lord Relictor, so he's a chaplain analog, if you can't tell from his skull helmet.
and the big mace.
Tabletop. Yeah, tabletop wise, he's really cool because he's a priest. And so again, there's some rules for that, but it's really nice to have like a big, hardy, chunky model that also kind of dominates a specific phase of the game. I think in any game, like again, if you're playing Old World, like taking a high alpha sorcerer on a dragon, it's just a really great way to get a really strong model on the field and keep them alive. And so Ionis on his dragon is a really good way to do that.
Right. Nice.
The Knight Draconis is so Stormcasts have like Lord tier characters and they have Knight tier characters. The Lords are the generals, the Knights are lieutenants basically. This guy's job is marshaling around the Stormdrake Guard, which are the Stormdrakes. Really cool on tabletop. He's got a flaming sword. It behaves like a flaming sword. And then he flies around, and in this particular army, he can move before and after combat. So he gets to do some neat hit and run stuff. So you normally pick him to go first, put a big chunk of damage in a unit, and get him away. He's very fun to play with.
Okay. Nice.
That is Krondus. There are two name dragon options of this. Krondus and his brother Karazai. They are the sons of Dracothian, who is the god of the dragons and one of Sigmar's closest allies. Krondus is a prince. He's a wizard. He's lordly and cool. So he fills a really nice role in that particular army because you don't have a wizard otherwise. His brother Karazai is this horrible scarred monster that likes violence and fighting, and he is phenomenal in this edition. Basically, one of the things Games Workshop does now is things normally get worse when they get wounded. Karazai just gets madder and hits more and hits harder. So I have to paint Karazai for this army because he is really good now and he looks awesome. They build out the same kit, but yeah, this army is awesome because you get to paint, two big centerpieces and then grab another, 5 effective centerpieces and throw them on the table too.
Right. Cool. I don't have a photo lined up of the 4 Storm Guards, but yeah. No,
yeah, they're cool.
I think it's a great sort of example. Like, so that can be a 2,000 point army.
Yeah, that's a 2,000 point army. And they're really cool to play. Regiment of Renown, so a different way to play a Stormcast army. You could also play these in the Extremist Chamber version of the Stormcast army. They have some rules to go with that. But these guys are neat because they are like a hit and run style army, and then you kind of all in when you need to actually take objectives, take your opponents. The most recent game I played with these guys, my early board control just let me get my dragons on every point. In Age of Sigmar, objectives are sticky, and so if you control the objective, you keep it. And so being able to kind of push up the board and dictate the flow of battle, these guys are just, I'm so happy to paint this army.
Cool. Nice. Excellent. Well, let's jump into, we'll spend like 5 minutes talking about Spearhead, and then like a 5-minute wrap up on your thoughts on 4th edition and how it's sort of bedding in, I guess.
Spearhead. If you don't play Spearhead, I think Spearhead is probably the best way to play with Games Workshop models. Okay. Spearhead is really cool because it is a board game effectively. The Fire and Jade Gaming Pack has everything that you need to play Spearhead, and you just need to add your Spearhead of choice. Those will be in the Vanguard boxing from the previous edition, and those are all moving over to the Spearhead boxing. Basically, you build the models as they appear on the box, and then you have normally 2 different traits for the overall army you can pick from, 4 different traits for your hero, some magical artifacts, and that's your army. You deploy them on the board. The objectives are on the board, and then those cards actually dictate the game. First turn, you'll draw 3 cards.
Here, so these circles here that are printed are the objectives? Is that right? Okay.
So, so thing number 1 about those is they have big, goofy symbols on them. Those all have names. When you look at the card for scoring objectives, they will have the name of it, and they will also have the big, goofy symbol. So if you know that you want to control the Dracoth, cool. If you're like, I just need to control the dragon symbol, just go get the dragon. You'll draw 3 cards at the start of your turn. Those will be how you score. They also have an effect on the bottom that you can instead use that basically as a power to improve your units. So that's everything from like a counter charge to having a 5-up ward save, which would be a feel no pain for 40k players. And the risk reward is that there's going to be turns where you score 1 for 1 objective, 1 for 2 objectives, 1 for more, and then you can score all 3 cards out of your hand. So basically you can score 6 points natively every turn, but you can burn those cards to make sure you actually score those points or take off key units. And then the next really important thing in Age of Sigmar is at the start of every turn, there's a priority roll. So you have the potential to double turn your opponent. The double turn used to be something that like potentially just lost you the game or won you the game. It's really cool in Spearhead. If you opt to take the double turn, you don't get to draw cards. Okay. So if I know that I have you on the back foot and I'm really pushing and I'm ahead, I'm going to take that double turn, push on you, try and win the game. There's also an underdog mechanic. So when you flip a twist card at the start of every turn, the underdog will always be the first one to benefit from that mechanic. So that could be healing or doing extra rend armor penetration to your opponent's units. So there's a lot of nice play with those cards in addition to actually playing with your models. This board is 22 by 30, if I recall correctly. It's one of the Games Workshop rectangle boards. So your stuff is moving around. You're moving to objectives. And then the final part of that is a lot of the battle line units. So skeletons are a really good example. Get to reinforce. So when that unit gets wiped out, you can return it to play. I think it's 3 inches off a board edge. I'd have to look that up. I don't have it in front of me. But it's really cool because there's some armies that are natively like really tough and really resilient, and they're not going to put any guys back on board. There's other armies that are going to go, yeah, we're going to lose some guys, but I'm going to bring them back on that dragon objective I need to get to. So there's a lot of really interesting play here. I love this game.
Okay, nice. I grabbed some pictures of some of the spearheads, but
yeah.
So this is the Slaves to Darkness. Sort of
great one. Incredibly fast, very resilient.
Yep, five Chaos Knights, the Chaos Chariot, 10. Are they chosen?
Yep,
chosen.
I think
they're just warriors.
Chaos warriors with halberds and
just
shield.
warriors.
And then is the Chaos Lord on foot.
Yeah.
That's pretty neat. This is the Flesh Eater Court.
The reinforcement thing I talked about, that's what this army does. The Flesh Eater Court's big mechanic is noble deeds. The hero model, so that'll be the Aberrant, the guy with the wings, and the Vargulf, the guy snarling. When they kill stuff, they make the rest of your army better and bring stuff back.
Right.
And then the Morbeg Knights, guys on bats, their big thing is they do mortal wounds on the charge, and they can retreat and charge. So they have a lot of neat play where they're kind of hopping around and just alpha striking people.
Okay. Nice. I was wondering how that would work, seeing as like there's only 10 ghouls in the box.
Yeah, so you can bring them back with noble deed points, and then you can also reinforce them once per game.
Okay. Very good. It's the Soulblight Gravelords one, which has got 5 knights. It's got 3 big winged beasties and 20 skeletons.
I just built this. These skeletons are a pain in the butt. They have to go together in a very specific order.
Yeah.
Some of the spearheads too have that they don't have their whole. I think the Soulblighter one. Some of them don't have their full army on the board because this army is pretty rough and huge to begin with. I believe the Vargeis, the winged fellows in the back, I believe they come in later. So they're kind of like your final hammer blow. And that's another fun thing. The Stormcast Spearhead with Yndrasta, the big avenging angel woman. Yndrasta and the big heavy Stormcast show up on the third turn. You only play 4 turns, but they show up on the third turn and just kind of get you the win.
Right. Nice. Cool thing. Okay. I know I'm still painting up my Cities of Sigmar Spearhead. As we saw, I haven't got that cannon painted, and I think I've got another 9 dudes to paint for that. But I'll get there eventually. But overall, so you said at the start of that Spearhead, you feel Spearhead is the best way to play with Games Workshop miniatures?
So dollars to donuts. Spearhead is $140 to $160 investment. It's even cheaper than that if you just go out and get a Skaven tie box and split it with a friend. Those are 2 full Spearheads plus more. So those are actually 1,200 point armies as well. So it's easy to build them into full armies. Our part-timer Andre is doing the Skaven, I know. I think Spearhead's it's all in that box. It's a box game, and I don't think you can beat that. And I think that kind of skirmish, I'm going to play a game in, 30 to 60 minutes. And if we have a terrible time, we'll rack it up and play another one.
Right.
Which cool. I think is, again, I think playing 3 or 6 games in a day and being able to be like, man, there were a lot of fun moments is so much better than playing, even though I love it, like a 3,000 point game of Horus Heresy, and be like, yeah, I got shot off the board turn 1, and then, kind of pushed around my guys and hope that I had the right objective at the end of the turn, or end of the game, excuse me.
Right.
The besmirch game I love. But yeah, that's what I really like about Spearhead. I think anything that encourages you, again, like we can play Spearhead on my kitchen table, we can play it at the shop, we can play it at Gamma or Nova or wherever else we go, and it's really as easy as having that Fire and Jade box, and then having, this isn't quite big enough, but having, one of these little model cases in your carry-on bag, which I think is a phenomenal way to actually be able to like play and consume Warhammer.
Right. Cool. Okay,
Yeah.
So going back then, that sort of the last sort of 5 minutes to wrap up, where you think Age of Sigmar 4th edition is at now, and how you see the future of it.
I think as a competitive, I think as a competitive full army game, I think Age of Sigmar is the best or second best game Games Workshop produces. I think quality of life stuff they've improved in this edition is phenomenal. Basically, there's a 3-inch combat range, so you're not so worried about who's where and what's what. Like we're rolling dice for our models, we're getting them in combat, we're doing stuff with them. The army building now is focused around regiments. So characters like Usharan that you really want to take, Usharan, those War Master type characters, will then be able to have a hero in their regiment. We'll determine the first turn by who gets their army on the board first. So bigger regiments get on the board faster. They all deploy together. But those big characters normally have in their composition that they can bring, the whole army, and they can bring, a wizard type character with them, all that kind of cool stuff. So the 4 units plus hero they can normally take could potentially be your whole army. And I think when you talk about army building for games, the old school 40K HQ2 troops was commonly referred to as attacks. In Age of Sigmar, your tax is bringing cool heroes, which I think is an infinitely better way. I have an awesome wizard, and then he brings along his bodyguard, than being like, I got to take 20 cultists and I guess a demon prince. I think battle tactics. Like I just take 2 5-man units, and then I just take all my cool stuff. It's like, no, you take your cool stuff, and then you have a really cool hero to lead them. Battle tactics, the actual scoring in 2,000 point games, you pick them at the start of your turn. You kind of analyze the way the battle's going. Those are all in the General's Handbook. Battle tactics are a really cool way to play your turns, so you can kind of like plot out, be like, oh, this turn, like I want to secure the board edges, and this turn I want to get to the middle. This turn I want to have, a unit and hero charge. I I think that's great. The General's Handbook has curated missions in it. So they took the previous seasons of Age of Sigmar, and there's 12 missions in there, and they kind of did a best of.
Okay.
So when we go to a tournament, or we're just playing casually, we can be like, oh, Places of Power, I really like that one. Or Geomantic Pulse. I think Geomantic Pulse is really cool. Basically, objectives pulse, and they're worth more. And so it moves from left to right or right, depending on what you rolled. So like you can totally be like, I'm going to hammer blow the left side of the board and get that objective and just move across and try and take it. If, you know, your hammer gets clogged up in the middle of the board, all of a sudden the game's completely changed. Or if your opponent's, you know, playing battle tactics where they're like, you know, I'm going to be winning turn 3, turn 4, turn 5, you can do whatever you want turn 1. The army I play, the Dracothian Skywing, is a really good army to be like, yeah, you do whatever you want to do. Like, I'm going to see you later.
I'm going to come back
again,
later. Right.
High fantasy new armies. There's this rumor of Chaos Dwarves going around that's been going around for a long time. The Hobgrots for Cruel Boys have weapons and bombs from them. The Horns of Hashut from Warcry. There's these new armies on the horizon and new ideas. And then I think the other idea is you know, to talk about a character I really like is like bring Usharon, bring Alariel, like bring Ionis Cryptborn. Like you want to put those cool models on the table, and it's not, again, that removal of that tax where instead, you know, taking your 500-point character that's going to take a quarter of your army, you're like, this is my, not only my centerpiece model that I really enjoyed painting, but you're also like, this is my centerpiece for the army, and he's going to kind of communicate the tone and the way my army behaves. And that is communicated more in the actual army building. So Stormcast, for instance, Stormcast have chambers. So the different chambers are different types of soldiers, different types of fighters and heroes. And you can lean into the concepts you really like. I think they've done a beautiful job with that.
Cool. That's awesome. I think it's a great wrap up. I do need to get back to painting those Cities of Sigmar guys.
Yeah. Play Spearhead. Get a friend. Play Spearhead. Get that Fire and Jade box. You won't regret it.
Those are great.
So yeah, I will do that. I will check it out. Thank you. You have convinced me. I'm sold.
Oh yeah. And again, get a little army carrying case that just carries that. Tell a friend, be like, bring your Spearhead, put it down on the table, play your game, drink a couple beers, put it away.
We'll do that. I'll do that. Excellent. Oh, there you go. Is that your Spearhead?
Yep.
Excellent. Nice. Cool. Well, thanks very much for that, Ben. Thanks for going through that with us.
Thank you for having me.
And giving me giving us both an education on Age of Sigmar, which is cool. Probably me more than Jake. Jake's probably heard a lot more of that.
Ben and I talk about all the time. That's why Ben's the reason I picked up a Spearhead. So
right. Nice.
Yeah, no, but Age of Sigmar, play Age of Sigmar. It's a great game. You're not gonna lose out anything by enjoying it.
Cool. Excellent. Well, Ben, you're gonna stick with us. We're gonna have a look at the miniatures from our Facebook community page, the BuildPaintPlay community page. Link to that is down below. You can go and check that out. I know that they don't need anybody to link to them, but I did link to Games Workshop's page about Age of Sigmar. So if you want to go and direct to the source, there is a link down below. But yes, head to Facebook, join the group. We'll let you in, and you can share your minis with us. So fantastically enough, the first one this week is from Adam Weller. And it is.
Was this the Mighty Thor?
No.
Oh no, yeah, that's the character right out of the box.
Yep, right off the artwork.
Yeah, that is. I believe a Knight Veritant. So that's like an Inquisitor. She's a witch hunter.
Yeah.
I love the work that Adam did on the shield and on the sword. Like that's so awesome.
Yep. Yeah, this model's got.
Do we know what
things?
Yeah, do we know what paints he used? The pastel effect's really awesome.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I don't think he mentioned that. But yeah, just jump in the group, find this pick, and say which paints did you use then? But no, they do look great. I do love the the glowing effect of the mid-venter on the sword. But yeah, beautiful stuff there. Oh, sorry. I just noticed that. Oh, sorry. Richard Ruff said, "Ugh, death rattle skeletons, the bane of my existence."
Yeah, Rich and I were talking about it. We both broke. I broke so many carefully snipping them off the sprue.
Yep. Will Evans joined us, saying attractive people only in the chat.
Oh, nice. Thanks, Lev.
Cal's here.
Well, that's
Of course. Yes, Dave says, looks at the Shadow and Pain box. I really should finish this build and make the wife paint them. Yes, you totally should do that. Amos says, love the color palette Adam is using. And Luis says, thanks, Ben, for sharing your knowledge on Age of Sigmar.
Thank you, Luis. It was good seeing you yesterday.
Beautiful work there, Adam. She looks fantastic. Excellent. Next up, Alan. Alan's been working on a couple of or some more cyberpunk models from Monster Fight Club.
That looks like a Mr. Johnson on the right. He's about to give us a job we can't refuse.
Yep, absolutely. I do love the guy on the left. Do those cables go directly into his arm?
Yeah, it looks like. I can't tell. It looks like he has his hand this way. So I think it comes out of his wrist.
I think.
Yep.
I think he has a little manipulator, and that's a jack. I think.
Right. Yeah, could be right. But they look great, Alan. I love that the red and the teal there on the guy on the left. Really nicely done. And Alan has also painted up these.
Tiger Claws. This is one of the other gangs.
Yep.
These are cool.
Yeah, I love the effect that Alan's done on the helmet on the guy on the right here.
Yeah, the reflection. That's cool.
Yeah, bright sort of red reflection. Looks awesome. Nice work, Alan. Amos has painted
sick.
up some planes.
Yeah, those are
Yeah,
aerospace fighters from BattleTech.
Yeah. Jake, you have to go back and watch the end of last week's show where Dan and I don't know what any of the models are.
Oh God!
So.
Okay. I imagine Dave being like, "Oh, some kind of plane that someone's painted up."
Yeah, I was like, "Man, I wish Jake was here."
I think that's freehand on the wing, the Wolf Dragoons logo. It looks like it.
I thought he said he bought transfers, but
he might.
Oh well, they look great either way.
Yeah, they look awesome.
Yep.
Yeah.
Those aren't Visigoths. I forget what that is. That's the one that has the LRM launcher in the nose.
Yep. Nice. Oh, sorry. Just going back to Alan's. He said the guy on the right is wearing a bulletproof vest. He's the cautious exec. I wanted to flex on Dave with some purple. Yeah, last week I said purple was my bane. But there we go. And David says they are transfers.
Oh, they're jaggedized.
Jaggedized prime.
They look awesome.
Yep, beautiful work there. I love that fade. The ombre. There we go. Finally get to work. Cal's been painting up some more craziness.
Yeah, these look like something out of Dungeon Crawl Classics.
Right.
Yes.
I don't know. Are they Otherworld minis?
I'm assuming. I think these were in a lot of Otherworld stuff.
Yeah, they have that very Otherworld sort of mini feel. But yeah, particularly the ones on the right. I love the like the face and the horns of this guy.
Oh, they're not Otherworld.
No. Oh, what are they? There we go. No. Let us know, Cal. But yeah, looking good there. Is that a big eye in the middle of the chest?
Yeah, looks like.
No. Fantastic. No, looking good. Next up, Demons are from Satyr Arts and the Shriekers Reaper. Excellent. Chris Duffy has been painting up this. This is the Mutilath Vortex Beast.
Yep.
Sure is.
Yep.
With his 3 tongues and his 6 eyes.
Yep. and the mini horns. It looks great. This is such an awesome, fantastic model. I'm loving the vortex that Chris has got going there.
It's such a weird model.
It is totally. So I love it. I've got one for my Slaves to Darkness, but I made it
Like,
so
it looks like a Tyranid that's been like touched by chaos, and it also has like a weird like thing on its back, like a howdah.
Oh yeah, it's all kinds of jacked up.
Yeah,
but no, it's great.
No, those are awesome.
Yeah. Looking good. Nice work, Chris. Chris Gorka.
Oh,
nice.
Chris painted up the what's this one?
So that's Thor on the left, and that's the mighty Thor on the right, which is Jane Foster.
yes.
Natalie Portman, right?
In the movie, yeah.
Yes.
Chris
Natalie Portman.
Natalie Portman on the right.
Yes, correct.
I know where this is going.
Yeah, right. So if Ben and I were here, if Ben and I weren't here, Dave would have said, so as you can see here, Chris has painted up Chris Hemsworth and Natalie Portman.
Yep, exactly.
Sounds good.
But what's the name of this box set?
I think it's just the Heroes of Asgard. It comes with these two
I
plus
think.
Loki.
Yeah.
And Loki and Sif. There you go.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. That's the Asgardian faction pack for Crisis Protocol.
Yep. Sif looks so awesome.
Yeah.
Dude, Chris is so good at painting flesh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous. Like all the tone in her legs.
Yep. Yeah. She looks muscular. That's awesome.
And that's like old school Loki with like the bright yellow and the bright green.
Yeah. It does look. It looks very cool. I think Chris has done an awesome job on these.
Yeah, these are
Nice
awesome.
work, Chris. And Chris also painted up some Flamers of Zinch.
Hilarious models. These things are so weird.
Yep, they are. So many mouths and eyes and flaming orifices.
I don't think you can ever go wrong with painting high color chaos stuff like this. It like again, Chris is an awesome painter. But they're so fun to paint. Those look awesome.
Yeah. There was a model that came across my feed from somewhere else. It was the like the dragon that you've got in your Stormcast army, Ben.
Yeah.
And but they painted it up and it was like, wow, that's really bright. That's kind of really garish, like yellows and pinks and magentas and blues. And then I read the caption.
You don't always.
They're painting it up for Zinch. I was like, oh, perfectly.
Yeah.
Perfectly fine.
And you don't always get the opportunity to paint colors like that. So like I think like here like that like teal transition in the blues and the purples and pinks, like it's cool sometimes just go to the store and be like, I'm just gonna do big color.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, and if you're painting Zinch, it's like, boy, I sure do like painting blues and purples. And you're like, boy, do I have the army for you.
Yep. Absolutely.
If there's a color you want to paint, there is an army that needs it. So
Yep, this is true. Nice work, Chris. They look great.
yeah, these are super
Next up, Clive has been painting up some of these. Are they WizKids?
I don't know what these are. They're definitely like translucent, so they could be Reaper. They could be Reaper or WizKids, but yeah, it looks like he's been doing like different like tones and washes over the translucent print.
Yeah.
So as not to lose the like he's not using opaque paints. So
Yep. I think they're looking good. That the sort of red pop on the heads is looking really good.
yeah, I like those.
But no, you're doing a nice job there, Clive. I think occasionally when I've tried this, I have gone a little bit too sort of heavy-handed with the wash, but yeah, I think just enough there on those sort of the central body.
The WizKid translucent stuff. I know I did a fire elemental. It's kind of nice because like Games Workshop shades will kind of bleed on them a little bit, so you can work with them a little bit more.
Okay.
But yeah, doing inks for those are awesome. That looks really, really cool.
Yeah. Nice work, Clive. Excellent. The first of our shelfies for this week. We do have quite a few shelfies. So we'll try to
Nice.
get through all these. Last week I asked, we had a couple of shelfies and I asked people to post some more. So this is one of Dave's. They posted quite a few, including his rack of maps for the Horus Heresy. So check out the Facebook group to take a look at the rest of those. But
Is that a scratch built Thunderhawk up top?
Yeah, it's a Clone Wars it's a Clone Wars toy that he found at I think he said a flea market or something, or a yard sale, and he's painting it up as like a fake Thunderhawk.
yeah, he calls it the faux hawk.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
but no, looking good there, Dave. Yep, there we go. Yeah, it's faux hawk. Nice. Dave Powell's sent us a couple of weeks. This is two photos sort of butted up together.
Oh my God, he has all the old school Dune toys, like the original Dune toys.
Yeah.
From like the Lynch film. That's amazing.
There are there's a point now with like Dave's collection that if I spot something old in a secondhand store or at a flea market or something like that, it's like, hey, I'll take it, let's have a quick photo, send it to him. Hey, do you have this? Nope, great. Buy it and send it off. But he has a fantastic collection there. If you see the Clash of the Titans.
That's awesome.
Oh, Charon the Boatman.
Yep.
He has a black hole in package Maximilian.
Yeah. Yep.
That's amazing. and the John Blanche sisters poster over the desk.
Yep.
I like the Aura Singh shrine. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's great. I like how he's got a glance. That's so good.
I love any of the interest in this is my favorite Star Wars character. I think that's cool.
Right. Nice. But Dave also sent us this photo. He's usually spends every a week or two every summer in up in Michigan, and this year he was inspired to get started on building a game for one of the battles from the French and Indian Wars. So he has some Indians here. He's going to be doing up some French next. So we are definitely looking forward to seeing those. Very cool. I think
Iroquois, I believe.
I think the guys on the left with the hats and the beards are the French, and I think the guys on the right are the Native Americans.
The trappers. Yeah, I think he's going to be doing some French regulars as well.
Oh, nice.
So
nice.
But yeah, these are the natives, trappers here. But yeah, I think you might be bringing this game to Adepticon. Let's see.
Nice.
So Lynn has been doing some work on a Marigal Dreadnought for the Word Bearers for
nice
Horus Heresy. So all of this, so obviously wonderful carved detail in the Marigal, but this awesome serrated sun, freehand, all of the script here as well. It's freehand.
Yeah.
Just looking fantastic. So excited.
Ben, you think he's gonna rock your boy? What's his name? Argel Tal?
If you play Word Bearers, you should.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree.
If you paint like that, you should have Argel Tal too.
Man, we're just talking about a whole bunch of things tonight that I've got in arm's reach.
Oh, there he is.
Yeah.
Conversion.
That's a team impress. Yeah.
We'll get there. Fantastic. Next up, James Craig.
Dang.
So he's got a lot of awesome stuff going on. James is,
the old Citadel Castle up the top.
Yeah. Mighty Fortress. Absolutely. But no, James is at the moment. He's working with the team, and they have a basically there's a charity raffle going on. He's painted up an army, so he's posted about it a couple of times in the Facebook group. So definitely go and check that out. I think last week we showed off the Manticore, which was firing off one of the missiles.
I see at least 8 golden demons in that case.
Yeah. James knows a bit about painting. definitely good when it comes to it. And I also wanted to share this one because who doesn't want to have a Millennium Falcon hanging from their ceiling?
He's got the green box up on the shelf. That's the Scooby-Doo breakfast cereal.
Oh, over here.
Yep.
Fantastic.
I think that's a statue of Ash with the chainsaw in the middle.
Oh, there.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I think that's Ash with his chainsaw arm.
Yep, absolutely. So I think the that shot that we saw before, this one,
Yeah,
is kind of in the behind us here. Like if we
Oh,
were to
it's-
turn
yeah,
one
that's the
eighty
opposite
degrees,
wall.
we'd see that shot.
nice.
But
Phenomenal office.
Yeah, seriously. I don't know how much work I would get done in this office, but it's a cool office.
none. You'll get none. That's how much.
Yes, that's
I
right.
know exactly how much work you get. It'd be none.
Yep.
But great. Thanks for sending those. Great, James. Looking good. Jeff Smith also sent us a shelfie.
Oh, right on.
So he has his case there. This is a close up of it here, so we can see.
I like this is like the bigger. This is the IKEA one that's the bigger version of the ones that we have at the store, and it's cool because you can fit a whole army on each shelf and have it look cool and not have it be like squashed in.
Yeah, exactly. But you can see here he's got his wolf spear army here that he did with the for the Tale of Four Warlords.
Yeah, that's
So his
Votan.
Votan that he's working on.
What's on the top shelf? Is that
There's some space.
Lehman
Wolves.
Rust.
Lehman Rust.
Okay.
Yeah, Lehman Rust in the middle. Fracking Gary.
Gary.
nice?
But yeah. So looking good there, Jeff. Thanks for sharing that.
He's got some Marvel United stuff on the 4 shelf. I see that big guy on the left. That's the Hulkbuster armor.
Okay.
The big guy that's like this.
Yeah. Over in this
Yeah,
area
that's,
here.
yeah, that's the Hulkbuster right there.
Nice. Awesome. Yeah, John said it'd be fun to see some shots of painting areas as well. We'll get to that.
Oh,
But yeah, looking
Oh
good there,
boy,
Jeff.
I have a very sad one.
Speaking of John signing, John said he was inspired by shelfies last week to dig out Lorgar here.
The worst Primarch.
The best Primarch.
He's the worst Primarch.
He's not the worst. He's like the second worst.
He's pretty bad.
I tell people all the time, I love the Horus Heresy bit where he's getting beat up by Korax and Night Hunter chases him off. And Lorgar's like, "Thanks, brother," and he's like, "If I ever see you getting beat up again, I'll kill you myself."
I would take you out.
He gets beat up constantly. Like he gets beat up by Korax. He gets beat up by Gilliman. He gets verbally assaulted by Night Hunter for getting beaten up by Korax. Like,
Yeah.
The
But without him,
OSL on
there's
that
no
mace
story.
is awesome.
yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
The OSL on that mace is awesome. And yeah.
Like there's I think part of the thing is Lorgar's like an indoor kid. Like he just
Right.
wants to sit inside and read books, and the Emperor's like, come on, guys, we gotta go conquer the galaxy. And he's like, "Well, I'm catching up on my stories, Dad."
I got another 50 books in this series to read.
Yeah, seriously.
Not now, the Bible's just getting good.
But he looks fantastic there, John. You did an excellent job. Thanks for sharing him. Justin McCoy posted a few. So this is his work area.
Nice.
Um,
I think he's got his Pip Boy in the window ready to go.
Yep. Absolutely. I
like his soft diffusion lights he has.
Right. Yeah. And he's also got a magnifier light as well.
Nice. I mean, I'm getting there. I don't need it yet, but I'm getting there.
Nice. Justin also shared a few more photos of different angles around his office, so definitely go and check those out. But yeah, looking good. Kelly also painted Chris Hemsworth and Natalie Portman. But beautiful work there, Kelly. I think
the light effect, the light play he has on Jane Foster's breastplate is awesome. Like that is so cool.
Yep. Like
around here. Like just the light transition, because that's all non-metallic, so it just looks great.
Yeah. I love what he's done.
Dave told me this.
Oh yeah, the blue light.
Sorry.
Dave told me the one time textures like that, like being able to really tell like the metal and the flesh and the cloth, like that's really, really good on these models. Like you can really see the different levels. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, these are so cool.
Absolutely. Yeah, there you go. It's not non-metallics, it's metallics.
Oh, it is.
Yeah, yep.
That's great.
Yeah.
It looks cool. The way that you bled it together, that's the cell, right? That's why it looks so cool.
But no, beautiful work there. I thought it was great to see, of course, like two of the same model, like duplicates during the show. So
yeah,
I love it. I love the 5 o'clock shadow as well on Chris Hemsworth, not Natalie Portman.
Right. I mean, let's hope not.
Well, you know, but no, looking great there, Kelly. Awesome. Luis shared his little corner of the dining room.
Very nice.
This is awesome setup. I can see his airbrush
That's awesome.
booth here.
I like how it goes right out the window. That's cool.
Yep, bending right out there. Loads of paints all set up there, and little red grass games or red grass wet palette on the front there. And on the right here is one of his display cabinets. So nice. Got some medals and trophies up there for his Gundam work. Some cool cars. Lots of great stuff. So yeah, fantastic to see a broader shot of where all the fun happens.
Cool. This is great. This is coming off.
He's been working on. But yeah, looking really good. He said this is the first time that he's tried the sort of damaged leather look on the coat.
It looks good.
Yep.
I definitely dig
it. Yeah,
it.
Luis has done a bunch of really cool Space Marines.
Yep.
And this model is just an awesome model to paint too. If you are into Space Marines at all, this chaplain's awesome.
Yep. Did a fantastic job. Beautiful work, Luis.
He's one of the few. He's one of the few chaplains that doesn't have like a giant like mace. Like this guy just has a rod. Like he has a rod that he's going to beat you to death with.
With his bright silver skull.
Yeah.
Crap idea.
Yeah, I gotta find a weapon swap for the Death Company one I want to
do. Awesome work there, Luis. Thanks for the shelfie as well. Mike Sibilia sent us these two shelfies. So Mike's the sort of head of the art show, director of the art show at Nova Open.
Dang, he's had a little bit of everything going on.
Yep.
What are those? What are those things on the bottom right on the hex bases?
Well, that's a good question. I don't know.
There's like a big guy with an axe and like.
Is it infinity?
I don't.
No,
so.
Infinity Circle.
Yeah, I know the standard is circle, but
fair enough. Yeah.
Not sure. Let us know, Mike.
I like his War Master Titan up the top too. That's pretty great.
Yeah, those look cool.
I see an old school Mumakil up there too.
Yeah. I was gonna say just right behind him. Looking great there. And also this shelfie.
Nice.
Yeah.
I think that's Infinity on the right on the second shelf.
Oh, yeah. Second shelf up.
Yeah, I think everything on the right is oh God, what are
the whole shelf is the left is Combined Army. The right I think is Pano.
Right. On the right, I think that's oh God, is it Nomads? It might be Nomads.
Yeah, that's what I meant. Yeah.
The bottom left could be Pano. I don't know what that is.
Yeah, they're blue. Yep.
So like Gravelords on the top left.
Oh, yeah. The Cursed City guys hiding up top. They look particularly awesome.
Yeah, those are great. I like the bottom right. He's got an old school dwarf army. I see a whole unit of Slayers in the front.
Yep.
Classic with the orange beards and the giant axes.
Yeah, looking great.
Those are
So
great.
awesome. Thanks very much for sharing these, Mike. It's definitely cool.
Is that some Hail Caesar in the middle there?
Maybe.
One of them. Yeah.
Looks
Yeah,
like
you got your
pretty
goals right on the left.
Yeah. Oh, some BattleTech action.
Oh, and Rera, who we're going to have on in October, talking about Sunshard Emblem, his new game coming out. He said this is his like pile of opportunity next to his painting desk. So he wants to. He can open up those doors and reach in and grab a model.
He's got some of the new plastics from BattleTech from the starter set on the left, and then he's got, I don't know what those little tactical dudes are from, and then on the right he's got some of the metal Ral Partha metal BattleTech models. Like he's got like a spider in there, and was that an Annihilator or an Executioner? I think it's an Annihilator.
Oh, I just noticed as well. He's got his copy of Armies and Legions and Hordes down there.
I see that.
Nice. It's the End Times books. It's a good book if you can get a hold of it. Nice work, Owen. Thanks for that.
That's a lot of classic Warhammer down there too.
Yeah, it is a ton. Yeah, there's a bunch of like fourth edition stuff.
Is that a Chaos Dwarf book?
Yep. The original Chaos Dwarf book.
Yeah,
there. Excellent.
That's awesome.
Robin McGall.
Very nice.
So a couple of Detols.
Yeah,
he's got some Sons of Horus.
Yeah, and he's got some Eldar stuff up the top there.
Yep, some Dark Eldar.
Oh, right, because they can mix in some of the Eldar stuff too, like that thing on the right. Unless that's a Harlequin bike.
Oh, here.
Yeah, that's the Harlequin.
Yeah,
right?
that's.
Yeah, is that like the? I thought it's not a Venom.
Void.
No, it's the Harlequin one. It's was it Star something? It's the one that can like either be a gunship or a transport, and it carries like 6 Harlequins.
Yeah,
I think it's the Void Weaver.
All right, but because he's playing Dark Eldar, you can mix in Harlequins too. So,
yeah. But no, looking good. Good to see some of those. He's got the Cerastus Assault Ram. Is that what it's called? Not Cerastus. Cestus.
Cestus.
Cestus Assault Ram.
Cestus. It's the Cestus is the Roman. It's the Roman gladiator gauntlet. Is literally what Cestus means.
Oh, okay. Radio.
Not as great as it was on tabletop, but such an awesome model to own and such a fun way to put models on the board. Really great.
No, very cool. Thanks for sharing that, Robin. Very cool. Scott shared a couple of photos.
This is like a weird hobby shop.
Yeah, it is absolutely.
Oh, Ben, there's your $12 Nurgle guy hanging up there.
Yup.
Oh, yeah.
Flip him over. Let me see the price.
It's going to be in Canadian dollars, so it's going to be a little bit more than 12.
That's fine. So it'd be what, 18?
Maybe.
1675.
I wanted to know what model this one was. The one beneath the Shade Spire box.
I don't know what.
It's a Vindicator. No, it's not.
Is it one of the Ash Waste models? Maybe. It looks like it's a Necromunda model.
I think it is. I just don't know what it is.
But yeah, lots of other cool things like some Legends models there. Ral Partha.
I see some. He's got some Dark Age blisters.
Yep, he's got some War Master blisters.
Oh man,
loads of crazy stuff. So thanks for sharing that, Scott. If you want to go and have a closer look at some of the cool stuff that Scott has on his shelves, you can check it out in the Facebook group.
He has a little bit on the right in that picture. He has a Rivet Wars expansion for the original Rivet Wars from Simon. I'm assuming he has the base game somewhere. And if you don't, Scott, let me know. I think we still have a copy. But
fantastic.
There's some crazy retro stuff on there.
Yep. And there we go. There's Scott's painting desk.
Nice.
So it's a collapsible plastic table there.
That's dangerous because it looks like it's about to collapse with all that stuff on it.
It does. It does. He's got some fantastic bits and pieces in there. I'm guessing some artwork from his son and or daughter.
I mean, too, let's not be mean. Scott could have drawn those.
It's true. It's true.
It's good work.
It is. It's particularly cool. I think this one over here is particularly good. But a couple of pieces as well from some of the other box sets, so like the Age of Darkness.
That's in the Horus Heresy box.
This is the Rogue Trader.
Yeah.
Or Kill Team Rogue Trader box. But
that's cool.
Yep, looking good. He's got the Lucent Light there from Game Envy. Red Grass palette. But very nice. There's a couple of other shots in there that make me realize that Scott and I have a very similar approach to organization.
You just save time and don't.
Yeah.
You don't spend any energy on that.
Exactly. Sean Gleason has painted up a couple of dragons here for
Those are cool.
But yeah, they look good, don't they?
I like those. Their wings look like leaves.
They do. So you said these are wood elves, but I'm not sure if did GW do an official wood elf Warmaster army, or is this from?
I don't remember.
Someone else. It might be from a 3D sculpting firm or folks. It's looking good nonetheless, Sean. Did a good job on those. Very cool. They've got this badass from Steven.
Oh, he's awesome.
This is like if like Lucifer said, you know what? I'm going to try out for the WWE.
It's very like if it's like you caught the devil on his day off. Like he was on a Zoom call during the pandemic, and then he like stood up and wasn't wearing pants.
Right.
It's definitely from like a 80s monster manual, not monster manual, but like one of the bootleg ones. And if your parents would have caught you with it, it'd be like, we got to talk.
Right.
There's a lot of questionable. There's a lot of questionable Clyde Caldwell art in it.
Right. Yep.
His big disco medallion.
Yep. Well, great. I love that. Like you got the belt buckle there, which is like the inverted 5-pointed star, and it's like that's not enough.
I'm gonna double up. I think he said this is Asmodeus. It's supposed to be like the Baron of Hell in D&D.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
You can tell.
Yeah, I mean, it's a great paint job, but like the model itself is like, I love that they're like, let's make the Baron of Hell. Let's put him in a Speedo with a bathrobe and a cape.
Yep, absolutely. But great work there, Stephen. You painted him beautifully, and thank you for bringing this model to light.
Oh, amazing!
And also, Stephen's participating in the Darren Latham Instagram hashtag miniature glow up.
Very nice.
Or challenge.
That's awesome.
So it's where you take a model that was painted or from your early days of painting, and either repaint it or grab another one and paint a new version of it. So
it's so funny. You can see like the painting on the right is the stuff we all talk about. Like when I was a kid, that is clearly done with like Tester's enamel. Like that's all Tester's enamel, like paints. Like I can smell them.
Right. Absolutely. And you know that's just been rattling around in the box for the last 34 years.
Yeah, and it's still pretty well painted considering, because that paint is a nightmare to get off.
Yeah. Exactly. But no, Stephen did an excellent job there.
Yeah, for sure. That's great.
So I think that's it for all of the minis from the Facebook group this week. Make sure if you aren't a member yet, go and check that out. Next week, we have John Russell joining us.
Good, solid dude.
Yep. So John usually lives in Oklahoma, but he's going to be joining us from the UK, where he's been with the Warlord team. We're going to be talking about Bolt Action and talking about the 3rd edition of Bolt Action, which releases soon. We'll talk about all that sort of stuff. But we'll have a great time talking with John. Should be very good. The week after that, we're talking with Turin Buckley about Mordheim. So we're doing a lot of gaming stuff in a row here. Don't worry, we'll have some painting stuff a little bit after that. But yes, looking good.
Very nice. I dig it.
Hit. Stop sharing there. Woohoo! Yes, one thing I was going to say, we are at 675 subscribers.
676.
676 subscribers. Woohoo! So if people are watching and they aren't subscribed, please hit the subscribe button, the little notification button, hit like. We've got 11 likes. Somebody just hit 11. Fantastic.
Nice.
So hit that. It's all stuff that helps us out.
I think we lost Ben.
Oh, it says device is not connected. Yeah.
He'll come back.
We'll get him back to say goodbye. But yes, so if you can do all that sort of fun stuff, and don't forget to head on to the Army Painter social medias and let them know that you think it's great that they're sponsoring us.
I just want to thank everybody. We really appreciate it. Like we were talking about this a little bit. The fact that we're closing in on 700 viewers, and we don't do. Dave and I are neo-Luddites. We don't do any kind of advertising or marketing. I am not savvy to the algorithm. That is not how we roll. So this has all just been word of mouth and all you folks kind of putting us out there. We really appreciate that. So if you can, please share us in a group that you're in, or put us on a page that you think people might dig it. We appreciate that. We're hoping to get some more sponsorship for the rest of this season and for next season. Oh, Ben's coming back in now. Here we go. Ben's on dial up, but he's back on. But yeah, we thank you guys so much, and we will see you next week with John. A huge thank you to Ben. He's such a champion for Age of Sigmar and he just gaming in general. Ben is one of the quickest painters I know. He just cranks through stuff. He's not Dave Taylor fast. That's superhuman. No one can do that but Dave. But Ben's always working on stuff and cranking it out, and he's an absolute champ because he's got 2 little girls at home. How old are your little girls now?
2 and 3 months.
So with a 2-year-old, a 3-month-year-old, a puppy,
3-month-year-old,
a 3-month-old, it's a lot. It's crazy, and yet he's still cranking stuff out and working on stuff. So yeah, a huge thank you to him. And again, I wouldn't be able to do what I do and be on here with you guys every week and hang out and stuff if I didn't have Ben as a partner at the shop. So a huge shout out to Ben. So
thanks, buddy. Thank you guys.
Awesome.
Anything else, Dave?
No, I think that's it. I think we are all good. Yeah.
Last thing I got, if anybody's going to be around this weekend in Manchester, New Hampshire, is the Granite State Comic-Con. I'll be up there doing painting lessons. I'll have Army Painter stuff. I'll have the Fanatic line. I'll have some of the speed paints. I'll have a bunch of the models that Dave and I were using at San Diego, the Marvel United. I'll have a bunch of those to paint, which makes sense because we're at a Comic-Con. I figured who doesn't like superheroes? I'm going to try to get Ben to come up for at least one of the days to hang out for a little bit. But if you guys have any questions, feel free to swing by if you're in the neighborhood. Like Dave mentioned earlier, Kat and Caleb and everybody will be at the Michigan GT this weekend as well. I think did they start Thursday?
Oh, well, probably Thursday night.
Okay, so Thursday is probably sneak peeks, but Friday, Saturday, Sunday, they're in Lansing, so you can see all them as well. Ben, do you have anything going on this week that we should be aware of?
Going to Pennsylvania.
Well, so Ben will be in Pennsylvania, so if anyone wants to stop by Pennsylvania and see Ben, he'll be around. He can answer some.
He'll be all over Pennsylvania the entirety of it.
He's just gonna roam around Pennsylvania playing Spearhead. So if anybody's there,
if you are at Beaver Stadium at Penn State, feel free to come find me tailgating.
Yeah, bring your Spearhead. He'll just get a game in on the back of the tailgate.
Cool. Yeah,
that's Spearhead like bleachers.
Yep.
Awesome. All right, I guess that's it. If we're ready to go, Dave, I'm ready to go.
I think we are ready to go.
All right. Thank you guys once again. We will see you later. Don't forget to build, paint, play.
Shut up and sit down.